If you think you need $1 million to retire, you might be chasing the wrong number. And chasing the wrong number doesn't just cost you money, it costs you years. Extra years at a desk. Extra years saying not yet to the life you've already earned. And here's the part nobody says out loud. For most people, the real number isn't $1 million at all. It's something else entirely. Something the financial industry doesn't put on a billboard. That $1 million number is everywhere. Every article. Every retirement calculator. Every well-meaning relative at event. And when you hold your own savings up against that number, almost everyone feels behind. That feeling, that constant, low-grade anxiety that you're not where you're supposed to be, that's the real cost of chasing the wrong target. Not the money. The mental weight. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, where the $1 million myth actually came from and why it was never meant to be your number. Second, the one number that actually determines whether you can retire, which almost nobody talks about. And third, how to calculate your real retirement target in about 10 minutes, with numbers that fit your life, not someone else's. Let's start with the data, because the data tells a very different story than the headlines at first. Let's define what we're actually talking about. When people say I need $1 million to retire, they usually mean $1 million in retirement accounts, your 401k, your IRA, your investments. Not your total net worth, not your home equity. Just the investable assets. Now here's what the Federal Reserve actually found. The median household aged 55 to 64, people right on the doorstep of retirement, has about $364,000 in total net worth. That includes their home. Retirement accounts specifically? Around $200,000 for those aged 65 to 74. And here's the stat that should make you pause. Only 2.5% of Americans actually have $1 million or more in their retirement account. 2.5%. Among people who've already retired, it's about 3%. So if you've been feeling behind because you don't have 7 figures sitting in your 401k, here's the reality check: almost nobody does. The $1 million number was never a description of what people actually retire on. It was a marketing number. Round. Memorable. Scary enough to get you to open an account. But not your number. So if most people aren't retiring on $1 million, what are they retiring on? It comes down to 2 things. And neither of them is a magic account balance. Component 1, income, not assets. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. You don't retire on a pile of money. You retire on income. A monthly check that covers your bills. That's the whole game. Think about it this way: if you had a guaranteed check for $5,000 a month, every month, for the rest of your life, adjusted for inflation, would you care what the pile behind it was worth? No. You'd care that the checks keep coming, and for most retirees, that guaranteed check is Social Security. The average retirement benefit in 2026 is about $2,071 a month, roughly $25,000 a year. For a married couple getting 2 checks, that's often $40,000 to $50,000 a year combined before they touch $1 of their savings. That's component 1, the income floor you already have. Component 2, the gap, not the pile. Once you know your guaranteed income, the question changes. It's no longer, do I have $1 million? It's, how big is the gap between my guaranteed income and my actual spending? And that gap, that's what your portfolio actually needs to cover. Not your entire lifestyle. Just the gap. Let me show you why this changes everything. A household spending $80,000 a year with $45,000 coming from Social Security doesn't need a portfolio that replaces $80,000. They need one that covers $35,000. The pile needed to produce $35,000 a year is dramatically smaller than the pile needed to produce $80,000. Same lifestyle. Completely different number. This is also where the popular 80% replacement rule falls apart. You've probably heard you need to replace 80% of your pre-retirement income. For a lot of people, that's just wrong. Many retirees are comfortable on 60% or 70% because expenses naturally drop. The kids are grown. The commute is gone. And if the mortgage is paid off, Your biggest monthly expense disappears entirely. When does 80% actually apply? If you plan to travel heavily, or if you're carrying a mortgage into retirement, or if you live in a high-cost area. That's when the higher replacement rate makes sense, but for everyone else? Run your own numbers. Don't let a rule of thumb designed for someone else's life dictate how long you keep working. So what's the number that actually matters? Here's how to find it. 3 steps. Step 1, write down your real annual spending, not a survival budget. Your actual lifestyle. What does it cost to live the life you want? Let's say it's $90,000 a year. Step 2, subtract the income you can count on. Social Security, let's call it $42,000 for a married couple. Maybe a small pension of $8,000. That's $50,000 in guaranteed income. $90,000 minus $50,000 leaves a $40,000 gap. That's what your portfolio needs to produce. Step 3, apply a sustainable withdrawal rate to that gap. The classic benchmark is the 4% rule. You can pull about 4% of your portfolio the first year, adjust for inflation, and it should last a 30-year retirement. $40,000 divided by 4%, that's $1 million. Now watch what just happened. That same person, if they'd been told you need $2 million to retire, would have spent years saving for a number they didn't actually need. The gap between $1 million and $2 million, that's 5, 6, maybe 7 extra years of working. Years you cannot buy back, and notice what a paid-off house does here. Knock $20,000 a year of housing costs out of that spending number, and your target drops by $500,000. Same life. Smaller number. But here's the piece almost nobody factors in. Even once you have the right number, where your money lies changes everything. 2 people can have the exact same balance and need very different amounts. Because of taxes, say 2 retirees both want $40,000 of spendable income from their accounts. The first person pulls everything from a traditional IRA. Every dollar is taxed as ordinary income. At a 22% federal rate, they need to withdraw about $51,000 just to net $40,000. The second person has built what I call tax buckets. Some in a traditional IRA. Some in a Roth IRA, where dollars come out completely tax-free. Some in a regular brokerage account, taxed at lower capital gains rates. They might only need to pull out $44,000 to net the same $40,000. Same lifestyle. Same income. A smaller required balance, just because of where the money sits. A dollar in a Roth is worth more than a dollar in a traditional account. The Roth dollar is already yours. The traditional dollar still owes the IRS. And when you're calculating your real number, those tax buckets can shrink your target by tens of thousands of dollars. Here's the thing about the $1 million number. It sticks in your head because it's simple. Round numbers feel real. They feel like finish lines, but a finish line placed at the wrong distance doesn't help you run a better race. It just keeps you running longer than you need to. Now, let me be fair. If you want to leave a big inheritance, if you have serious health concerns, or if your lifestyle genuinely runs expensive, you may need more. This isn't permission to undersave. It's permission to stop chasing a number that was never yours to begin with. Run your real numbers. Your actual spending. Your guaranteed income. Your tax situation. Because here's the truth that sets people free, the goal was never $1 million. The goal was enough income to live the life you want, for as long as you need it. And that number is probably smaller than you think. If this framework helped you see your retirement target differently, hit like and subscribe. It tells YouTube to show these breakdowns to more people who need them.